It's autumn here, and as you can see, my garden is on its last beat before winter, and yeah, but there are still things around here that can be enjoyed. And actually, I need to clean this. But I was thinking about my other video I just made. The video is 1 plus 4 equal 4, and the answer is yes, it can be. And it's interesting, and it reminds me about a friend of mine. First, ever since childhood, I had a fascination for natural science, and it's been following me all my life. And I delved into when I was a small kid. When I first could go to the library, the public library, I lent books before I even could read. Picture books with pictures from wildlife in Africa, and I was fascinated by it. I loved it, and then later on I start to think a lot about why do we exist? I had this thought at a very early age. Already when I was like 7 years old, I was wondering what would have happened if because I know how fertilization worked, and I was wondering like, what if not that particular sperm had fertilized the egg but some else? Would I exist then? These are like questions I always have had, connected back to natural science. And when I become elder, in my early teenage, I was interested in chemistry and physics and biology, and I like clean swept all popular science books I could find in the library, and it just kept on. And I've always been fascinated by that subject. My point is, like, I am from a natural science background. That's my point. And I have this friend of mine, which I've known for like 20 years. His background is totally different. His background is in philosophy and ethics, and we've been talking a lot with each other, often drunk, of course, but we've been discussing a lot of issues and questions and things like that. And what's interesting is that even though we have very different backgrounds about thinking about the world and how the world works, we have, by the years, independent of each other, come to the same conclusion about many things. We like agree on things, but we do it from complete different perspective, like from, you could say, almost from kind of like different worlds. I think that's a wasp there, yeah. Anyway, that's interesting, and it falls back a little bit what I've shown in my previous video, that there is a different path to go to come to the same place. You don't necessarily have to do the same thing to get to the same understanding of things. Now, we happens to be from the same culture background, which is the Western culture, so maybe that is influencing how we come to our conclusions about things. But the point I want to make is that we still are the same. Even though we have very different background, we are the same in the mind. And also, I've been traveling around a lot in the world, and people I met, they all say the same thing. You know, what do we want as human beings? We just want a place to stay, live, raise a family and kids, have a work, earn our money. These things. This is universal things for all human beings. And yeah, the thing is that even though things seems different to us, if you inspect them a little bit more careful, you may find out that they actually are the same in the end. So basically, it's about like understanding each other and trying to find what's our common ground is, instead of trying to find like what makes us different. It's about where you want to put your focus on things. And yeah, these thoughts goes and what it takes you, I leave up to you. But that's just my reflection about the little math video I had. I believe, like I said, I had a friend of mine who comes from a philosophical point of view. I come from a natural science background, and which is heavily influenced by math. And I think that math, my experience tells me that it tells a lot about real life. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's because we are humans, and the tools we use as humans is from the natural world, and those tools then just reflect what the natural world is about. And it doesn't really matter what tools we use, they are all from the natural world, and in the end they do the same thing. Well, that's it from me. I hope you have a nice day, and thank you for listening.